Tonight's Dharma talk is about meditation and what it does to the body, and specifically with the head or the thinking, the heart, and the Hara. And maybe a new word for you, Hara, and I'll explain more about it. You know, when I was younger and being ADD, my mind raced really fast, and one of the common things that I hear a lot and that I would even say is that my mind doesn't turn off and I can't meditate. It just runs so fast and I'm always thinking. And I had this belief that you had to shut off your mind, or what I would hear some teachers say about clearing your mind and think of nothing. And so for some that may be a possibility. And for me, I don't have that luxury. It actually seems to continually run regardless of what I choose to do with my thinking or what I'm doing when I'm sitting. The thing that I find that when I sit with my thoughts and I don't try to block them or stop them, that it's like a radio running in the background when you're cooking. And you're chopping onions and you hear the radio, but yet you're focused on chopping the onions with the knife. And so when I take a breath and breathe into my diaphragm, that it lets me not be focused on my thinking, but yet focused on the chopping board and the onions that I'm cutting. I like that example. And so that it doesn't stop the thoughts, but it actually puts a pause in my attention being focused on my thinking. And so meditation is really not about stopping your thinking or trying to control your thinking, but it's having a relationship with your thinking and not identifying with the thinking as reality or what is true about me or what I'm doing or what beliefs come into my head. It's really about that it has its own opinion and it has a great function of working out problems, complex problems, coming up with vision and letting yourself dream. It has its purpose. But the idea that I'm going to stop it from thinking is something that I believe most people can't do. And so if you come to terms with that and say, yeah, my mind's going to think all at once and I don't need to be controlled or take action on everything my thought thinks, right? And so that I can have a thought and notice it but not react to it. And then I can take a breath and then respond with something that maybe I'm feeling inside, whether it be my heart or my Hara having a different response. If someone's aggressive towards me, that instead of reacting to it and coming back and firing right back at them, that I can take a breath and maybe active listen and hear what they're saying instead of coming off sideways or getting angry right back at them. And I know I used to be really good at that, and sometimes I fall into that where I'll react to Amber like that, and then I get to check in with myself and, oh, that's not what I wanted to say, or I want to clean that up or say I'm sorry. And so my mind is something that I can constantly work on in meditation to have a relationship with it, but it not be what's true about me. So it has its function and it's not the truth. Okay, it makes up a lot of stuff like stories and beliefs from the past that aren't true. So it's a great part, but meditation really teaches you not to be driven by it. Then your heart, the feeling area of a body, that feeling emotions in your body and being in relationship with the emotions that are in your body, to not try and suppress or deny them, but be with them. I have been with clients that when they first learn to diaphragmatic breathe, that they feel this joy in their body that they haven't felt in a long time. I had a client just smile from ear to ear, and I'm like, what's happening to your body? And he has like, I haven't felt this way in a long time, where I let myself actually feel joy. And then the other side of it, of feeling fear when you're sitting in stillness and silence and your mind is coming up with all these different thoughts, that it can bring up a lot of fear in your body. And I've had clients that are sitting with fear and they're like, this is painful and scary to sit in stillness and silence and be with my thinking. And it creates an emotion in the body from that stillness. So when you meditate, it teaches you that feeling doesn't have to direct you into getting up and I'm stopping meditating because it's not comfortable. That you can be with feelings and they don't have to drive your behavior, again, like the thinking. And you can experience all your emotions: mad, sad, glad, fear, shame, and all of them. There's hundreds of different names, but those are some core ones that I've worked with my men's work. And that emotions, especially as men, are a healthy part of masculinity, to feel emotions in the body. I mean, I don't know about you, but I learned at a very young age to suppress or deny my emotions. I was told, don't cry, suck it up. If I talked about any feelings in judo, it would be like they'll take you off the mat and you'll stop fighting or playing in the sport. So I was always like numb to the emotions. Or in business, be business, no emotions in business. To feel the feelings of emotions when someone's coming either at you or you're in service to them, to let yourself feel the joy of being of service to somebody in a business deal. Oh, that's one of the best feelings that I love feeling, being of service to other people. And that's felt between the person that I'm serving and myself if I allow it to actually be alive in me. So the emotions, that meditation, you get to learn to be with your emotions, and that that they don't always need to be active, and that they flow through you. They're not a bad thing. So feel your emotions. Yes, it's a great thing. And then the last one is your Hara, that 3 inches below your belly button. In every spiritual practice or every culture, they have a name for this spot down at the base of your abdomen, 3 inches below your belly button. In Hawaiian, they say na'au. In Japanese, it's Hara. In, I think, Tibetan is Tanden. Is that? Dantian or Tanden? Yeah. Chi in like Qigong or yoga is like, that's your center point of your energy. And in karate, it was like, come from your center. It was right here. And when you ki-ai, ai! It was from here that you'd want to ki-ai from. And it gave you like strength or power to, like, you see people breaking blocks or wood. When we'd throw people in judo, you'd hear a loud ki-ai. It would come from that place of your Hara. And so when you sit in meditation, you get another relationship and deepen your relationship with that, what most people would call your gut instinct, of that place that can speak to you, that quiet whisper. And then also that below that quiet whisper is a deep silence that can be viscerally felt or like experienced, that's hard to put words to it or describe. When you feel that feeling down there, like describing it with words, of like, sometimes it'll feel like a warm sensation at the base of my Hara right there when I'm on an inhalation, and right before I exhale, it just softens, but I feel some stimulant down there, and there's a stillness underneath that place of that gut instinct. And so having a relationship with that place that is connected to everything that serendipitous events come from, little or big miracles that seem to appear out of nowhere. When you're thinking of somebody and they call on the phone and you're like, I was just thinking about you, it's more of that there's something happening between you and the other person that is undescribable. When you're in love and you're connected with somebody at a level where I don't have to talk to her, I can sit in stillness and silence together, and there's communication happening there. And when we were cuddling this morning, it was like I didn't want to get up or go anywhere. There was like something between the two of us that was meshed into one, and my belief that it is from that core place. And man, my heart was lit up too. I can acknowledge that. So sitting in meditation lets you experience all these different sides, and your Hara is another one that if you ignore it or deny it, it'll that quiet voice you won't hear it. So if you take the time to sit still, then you start to, oh wow, look, it's actually talking to me. I can actually respond to it and listen to it. And so we have this dynamic thing happening from our thinking, our heart or our feelings, and our na'au or hara, our gut instinct, and that stillness and silence that we can constantly practice. Like you go to the gym and you train at it, it's actually training for that relationship with all that dynamic of being a human being in this body, and being here for a short amount of time. And what a vast mystery that we get to live in this body like this. So meditation for me is really that relationship with getting to know what this is all about, and get to know what this is all about. Because this will just take over and do its thing. And if you really start to be with all the parts of your body, it's a much more dynamic way of living and a much more dynamic way of living. So I encourage you all to acknowledge or just be aware of all those places in your body. When you have a thought, you can, give an internal smile that I see you, and go back to your breath. When you feel a feeling, to recognize, look at that, I'm feeling really good being in Sangha and sitting together right now. And when I touch that place of stillness, that I can really acknowledge that quiet, calm place within inside my body, and just be in that stillness. And that's the practice of seated meditation. That's the practice of Zazen. And my encouragement to be aware of it all and be with it all, and develop a relationship with all parts of yourself, even deeper than maybe you currently are. So notice that as we go into this 10-minute meditation. Just notice the different parts, and it's not that you have to pay attention to all three of them, but they will arise at different times. And if you get up in the morning and sit regularly, you're going to have the opportunity at different times to see these different parts of yourself. And especially my thinking is one that I get to see regularly as soon as I open my eyes, and my thinking doesn't care what time it is. It literally will go at 12:30 at night, and I'll have a hard time going back to sleep. It'll get so active. And so I'll just sit there and lay there and breathe into my belly, and be with that, even though it's happening, and not get up or go do something or start scrolling, just to be with it. And sometimes I'll put my hand on my belly and let it rise and fall with each breath. So, and then I'll go back to sleep. So, all right, I'll encourage you all for that. Remember, if you don't have a meditation practice, to start with 1 minute a day. When you get up, sit up in your bed, sit with your feet on the floor, back straight like you're doing in a chair, and just sit still for 1 minute before you get up and start your day. And let yourself take, say six deep breaths. It'll take about a minute. And then get up and start your day from there. And then to continue forward, like you took home a pillow, Steve, and you're exploring this side of yourself, and to start to expand it out to where you can sit for 20 minutes or longer. Christina was here last week, and she's like, "Can we sit an hour together?" And we did a half hour together, and it was like she's like into that relationship with that. So encourage you just to expand the relationship with it and learn about who you are and how you show up every day, because it emanates out to all your relations. All right, thank you for coming tonight. Again, if you can just fluff your pillow up and wipe off your mat from any anything that's on it when at the end, and I appreciate it. Again, every night at 6:30 on Tuesday nights. Every night at 6:30 on Tuesdays. Isn't that a little contradiction there? And you can bring a friend if you feel inquired. Or, we had 12, just about 12 people here last week. And thank you for coming tonight. Look forward to more to come. And let's go ahead and get ready for our next 10-minute sitting. I'll see you all next week. All right, thank you.